Intrigue, an exciting television drama played against the tense background of present-day Europe. Starring tonight, Jerome Thor as Robert Cannon, foreign correspondent for Associated News. Produced in Europe especially for television by Sheldon Reynolds.
The trees of the Linetski forest, somewhere in Central Europe, were just as green as they had ever been. The sunlight sifting through their foliage, just as warm and golden. It was hard to believe the rumor one heard about it. Yet it had persisted since 1940. Persisted and spread until it could no longer be ignored. And now, finally, an international tribunal had been invited to the scene to determine for all time whether it was false or true.
600 bodies, gentlemen, even though dead since 1940, do not disappear without a trace. If these 600 men were really killed and buried in the Linetski forest, your agents, who have searched every foot of the forest at the invitation of the government, would surely have found something. But they found nothing, absolutely nothing. This so-called massacre you are investigating is a fable, an old wives' tale.
The fact remains, General Sapaki, that 600 officers of your country's army did indeed disappear.
Very well, they disappeared. Many soldiers disappear during wartime.
Not under these circumstances. They were prisoners of war held by the Germans. When the Germans retreated, your army reoccupied the territory, which included the prison camp. The Germans insist that the prisoners were left behind.
We found the camp empty. Can you believe that the Nazis left the prisoners, all officers of an opposing army, behind? Isn't it more logical to assume that the Nazis took the prisoners with them?
Do you deny that a massacre took place?
If this tribunal could produce even one body, I might be persuaded to believe it.
That will be all, General.
Will you require me again?
We should appreciate your attending the remaining sessions, so that if necessary you may be recalled.
As you wish.
The hearing is adjourned until Thursday morning.
Oh, General. I'm from the Associated News, Robert Cannon. Do you answer a few questions for me?
I have just answered a great many questions. I have no more to say.
Hello, Bob. The General just turned me down. Do you mind if I ask a few questions, Judge Seeger?
Only a few.
What about the political implications charged by Sapaki? Is it true that this administration is using this hearing as an election tactic against Sapaki and the militarist party?
That is rather a question, Bob. As you know, this is a weak country, and it has a powerful neighbor which supports Sapaki. Ever since the end of the war, this neighbor has been trying to put Sapaki's military party into power. If it is successful,
Then it's won a new satellite republic.
that's why this hearing is of international interest.
And if you can uncover evidence to discredit Sapaki,
Then Sapaki's party will not win the next election, and this country remains in the family of democratic nations. Is this politics, Bob? Yes, it is politics.
are you free?
Mr. Cannon,
Yes.
I want to speak with you.
What about?
Not here.
I don't like it, Kogel. I don't like it at all. If the facts should come out, our part is finished. As for ourselves personally.
How should the facts come out, General? There are no witnesses, except you and I.
And Major Storm.
Storm. Storm is a walking corpse. He's unable to tell the time of day, much less what happened in the Linetski forest so many years ago. Why should you worry about him?
Because of his Storm, I allowed sentiment to override logic. In politics, as in war, there is no room for sentiment. One must be ruthless.
I think you are needlessly worried, General.
Nevertheless, you will go to visit him tomorrow. If there is the slightest chance that he might be a danger, you will do what is necessary.
Is this quiet enough for you?
Yes.
Suppose we start with an introduction. Who are you?
My name is Zoe Lubet. I'm nurse in the Central Hospital for Mental Diseases.
You evidently know who I am, or you wouldn't have invited yourself for a drive. The question is, why?
At the hospital where I work, there is a man, a patient, who's been there for many years. This man is like an obedient child. He does what is told, no more, no less. He has never spoken a word in my hearing. He has no friends, no visitors, no relatives.
Go on.
He comes to me at occupational therapy and spends several hours each day driving nails into a pile of wood or using a plane or a saw without purpose. A while ago, I gave him drawing material. This was the result.
The Linetski forest and the massacre. Have you shown this to anyone else?
I've been afraid to. I don't know whom I can trust.
Well, who is he? What's his name?
All I know is his name, Anton Storm.
Well, I want to see him.
Oh, no, they would not allow that. No foreigner can get into the hospital as a visitor.
I've got to see him. I've got to get him to make more drawings.
But you have these. Why not show them to the tribunal? Let the tribunal act.
No, they'll just hold conferences, order investigations. By the time they untangle the red tape, Anton Storm would be dead. Whoever's responsible for the massacre would see to that. No, I've got to see him myself.
But that is impossible.
Maybe, but I'll try.
But I cannot release the patient to you without an authorization, Major. I should lose my job.
You forget to send me here.
I do not forget. But General Zapok is not yet the head of the government.
It will not be long now.
Until he is, I must follow regulations. Bring me an authorization, and you may have the man.
Very well. You will have it tomorrow morning.
Everything must be regular. You understand my position.
Yes, I understand. But a general may not.
Please, explain to him.
If explanations are necessary. That man, why is he here?
The police brought him here this morning. He's an amnesiac.
Are you sure?
That's his history. I have not yet examined him.
He is an American newspaperman. Of course, it's possible to be both a newspaperman and an amnesiac. But I doubt it. Can you determine whether his amnesia is assumed?
Probably.
Do it as quickly as you can. Now, listen. This is an order. He's not to see Storm. Do you understand?
Yes, Major.
And don't let him know you're aware of his identity.
No, Major.
I shall be back in the morning with the authorization for Storm's release.
Yes, Major. Will you please come in? Sit down. Now then, the police report that you have lost your memory.
I don't understand it, Doctor. Last night I found myself walking along the street. I had no idea how I got there or where I'd come from. Try to remember my name. I couldn't. I had no papers on me that would identify me, so I asked a policeman to help me. From the police station, they sent me here.
I have helped others in similar circumstances. Come with me. Nurse, just a minute. In here, please. Just make yourself comfortable for a little while. Another amnesiac. About the patient Storm, he's not to leave his room today. He's being transferred early tomorrow morning.
Transferred, Doctor?
Yes, transferred. That is all.
Yes?
Cannon.
Yes.
The man is being transferred in the morning.
Can you get me to him?
Dr. Benson has the key. But perhaps tonight I can get it.
When tonight?
I don't know. 12, 1, 2.
Do what you can.
Let's go now.
And now to return to the second part of Foreign Intrigue.
Hello, Anton. Anton, the Linetski forest. 600 men were shot there. Can you remember where they're hidden? Can you tell me, Anton? Can you remember? Anton, draw a picture for me. Show me the 600 officers. You remember them. They were your friends. They were killed in the Linetski massacre. Draw a picture for me, Anton. Show me where they're buried. The bodies of your officers.
Will you draw a picture for me, Anton? Show me where the 600 officers are now. The men who were killed in the Linetski forest. Please, draw a picture for me.
It must be extremely urgent if you want to have him transferred at this time of night. Could it not wait until morning?
It cannot wait. Here's the order for his transfer. And I want his record to go along with him.
His medical record?
Everything that pertains to him. The order calls for it.
It is not usual.
Have you discovered anything about the American correspondent?
So soon? No. Tomorrow I shall begin my examination. Bring the patient Anton Storm to my office.
Yes, sir.
So that's how it was done. No wonder they could never find the bodies.
Incredible.
Storm, these are wonderful. But can you draw a portrait? Draw me a picture of the man who ordered the massacre. Please, Storm. The man who's responsible for it all.
Mr. Cannon.
Gotta get out of here.
There are guards at the gate, and we have no pass.
Get one. Come on.
If there shall be any inquiries, move to the other side of the desk, Major. Now place your hands on the desk. You too, Doctor.
What's the meaning of this?
So as you take the Major's gun. Write us a pass, Doctor, the three of us, while leaving the hospital.
If you do, you will pay with your life.
I don't understand.
Then I'd better take time to explain. Anton Storm is probably the only living eyewitness to the Linetski massacre. Major Kogler and I both want him, but for different reasons. But I have the gun.
So that is why he was to be released to you.
I repeat, Doctor, if you allow Storm to escape, you will pay with your life. I have my orders.
And if I don't sign the pass, I shall be killed anyway. Perhaps not tonight, but eventually. I can see that already. Without knowing anything, I know too much. Please, take me with you. If you're taking him to safety, take me also.
I'm perfectly willing.
There is a soundproof room just across the corridor.
Good. Come on, Major.
Oh, I must go and get my keys.
Anton, this is important. Unless you show us the face of the man who ordered the massacre, he'll go unpunished. You want to prevent that, don't you, Anton? We must know who it was, Anton. Draw us the face. Try. Just a rough picture, Anton.
Mr. Cannon, perhaps we should ask him to draw another scene in the forest. Perhaps this time he will include the face we want.
Perhaps, but it doesn't seem likely.
It isn't likely, Mr. Cannon. The face is probably the one thing above all that Storm does not want to remember. It is next to impossible to pierce a psychic block of that nature.
We'll just have to use the pictures we already have.
Yes.
By this tribunal into the question of certain allegations of mass murder in the Linetski forest. All available witnesses...
If it please this court of inquiry.
Yes?
I believe that I can offer further evidence on the question before this tribunal. May I be heard, sir?
Come forward, Mr. Cannon.
But the inquiry is concluded. The last witness was heard yesterday.
We will take any testimony that is offered. Please sit down, sir. Give the stenographer your name, sir.
Robert Cannon.
Raise your right hand, Mr. Cannon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth?
I do.
Take the witness chair. Do you wish to be interrogated, or do you prefer to make a statement?
I'd like to make a statement.
Proceed, Mr. Cannon.
I have found what this tribunal has been looking for.
an eyewitness to the massacre in the Linetski forest.
I submit that if there is such an eyewitness, he should be the one to testify, and not Mr. Cannon.
Why does this man not offer his own testimony, Mr. Cannon?
Because he's in no condition to testify. I found him in an insane asylum.
Do you mean, Mr. Cannon, that this witness is insane?
Yes.
I object. Testimony based on the ravings of a deranged mind cannot be considered by this tribunal.
Proceed, Mr. Cannon.
Well, first let me submit a medical report on a man by the name of Anton Storm. He was an inmate of Central Hospital since 1941. He served his country as a major in the army. He was an aide to General Zapocki.
I object.
Proceed, Mr. Cannon.
If you will note, a monthly report on this man's condition goes to General Zapocki.
We will note it. Go on.
Now, I admit that this man's conscious mind cannot function. But from the depths of his subconscious, he was able to draw some pictures.
Pictures?
Storm has artistic ability. He was able to put down on paper the subconscious memories of the event that caused him to lose his mind. I submit 4 drawings. Drawing number 1. You will note by the castle in the background that it's the Linetski forest.
This line of men?
Obviously officers on the way to the execution. Here's drawing number 2.
The firing squad, but are not identified.
Unfortunately, no. Picture number 3.
Truckloads of bodies.
And now the last.
But this is fantastic. Unbelievable.
Not so unbelievable, sir. It shows the one place in the world where no one would ever think of looking for bodies.
A cemetery?
A civilian cemetery. Already occupied with civilian dead. That cemetery, Judge, is within a quarter of a mile of the Linetski forest.
General Zapocki, have you anything to say?
This is a great shock to me, as you can imagine.
You still insist you know nothing about the massacre?
I assure this court, there's no one in this room more astonished, more horrified than I am.
Will you explain, then, why you received monthly reports on Anton Storm's condition?
Yes, certainly I will explain. Storm was my aide before he was shell-shocked. I have always been concerned about him. I still am. But Storm knew no more about any such massacre than I did. Perhaps he once heard the rumor. Perhaps this is just a grisly product of his deranged imagination.
Mr. Cannon, is Anton Storm still at the hospital?
No, sir. He's with Dr. Belson, the superintendent of the hospital, just outside this room.
Have Anton Storm brought in.
Can you tell us your name? Can you understand what I am saying? Do you recognize the name Anton Storm? I show you these drawings. Do you recognize them? Are they your work?
I'm afraid you are wasting your time, sir. I have followed his case. I know this man is incapable of answering. He has no mind, no memory.
Your orders have been carried out, General Zapocki. The prisoners are dead and buried in the cemetery. Their blood is on your soul.